So great, let's get started with learning Chinese. Well, the first thing we're going to do is that we're going to find out which platform we're on. You click the Mac OS 10.9 and we're going to go here to the Apple, click about this Mac, and you're going to see that it says Mac OS version 10.9. If you're on a previous version, you should go to YouTube. You should search like Mac OS 10 point your version and then write pinyin input, and then you will find a lot of tutorials there on how to solve it. So if we're on macOS 10.9, we're going to click the Apple up here. We're going to click System Preferences, and then on the second row down we'll find something called Keyboard. We click that and we get to this screen. We'll click the fourth tab, which is called Input Sources, and you currently see that I'm only having US input right now. So let's add the Chinese one. I click the plus, I go down this menu and I find something called Chinese Simplified. Don't use the traditional. And then we're going to click the third one here, which is called Pinyin Simplified. There are many different ways to input Chinese characters, but the one that which most foreigners use is this Pinyin Simplified. And we click Add. Now let's be sure that everything is working correctly. Well, the first thing you need to do is that you need to see that this one is clicked. Show input menu in the menu bar. What it does is that you can see which input method here in this menu up here is currently active. So if I want to switch to writing English again, I just switch to the US menu here, or if I want to switch, I could go to the Pinyin Simplified here. So let's try this out a little bit. Let's switch here to the Chinese one, Pinyin Simplified, and I write YI, for example, and I click space. So that gives me an 1 in Chinese. Or the second way, let's go back here so you can see, is to hold this key here, which is on your keyboard it will say Option, Alt Option. If you hold this key down and then you click on this space bar, you can also switch in between languages, and you see that what happens here. So if I want to choose US, I just hold the Alt Option key and I click the space, or I return to the Chinese, and then I just let everything go. And what you see now is that the input method has changed. Sometimes you find yourself confused, like, oh, I want to go back to the English, and then you just need to go back here and switch in between the layouts. So let's try this. Well, let's click US here, and let's say I'm in a US keyboard. I see the US flag up here, and I hold the Alt key down and I press the space bar, and I have now changed to Pinyin Simplified when I release the key. We will write YI, and now you see something happening here, and that is that YI, or E as it's pronounced in Chinese, has a lot of different ways to write this character, or this word in Chinese characters. And that's why we need to learn Chinese characters only, because there's so many ways of writing the same word, or the same thing pronounced in E, so you need to be able to differentiate between all these E's. And we're going to choose the first one. We can just double click it, and then it will choose E for us here, the character, the Chinese character for that. Or we can write YI and then just press the space bar again, and that will choose it for us also. So let's repeat. You need to find out which platform you're on. Currently we're showing macOS 10.9. You can do that in About This Mac. Otherwise, go to System Preferences, go to Keyboard, click the Input Sources, click the plus, and see that you have Pinyin Simplified in this menu. And after you manage to write E in Chinese characters here, you click Submit, and it will take you on to the next page, and you'll soon be finished.